Fourier integral. Okay. Now, Fourier integral can be represented through non-periodic function. For that, first of all, we want to know what you meant by a non-periodic function. A non-periodic function may be considered as one for which the interval between repetitions is indefinitely extended. A non-periodic function may be considered as one for which the interval between repetitions is indefinitely extended. We can prove the statement with the help of an example. For that, I am considering a periodic function and I am going to convert it to a non-periodic function. Okay, let ftx be a periodic function with a period 2t. And let this t approaches infinity, then the resulting expression or the resulting function is no longer periodic. It will be a non-periodic function. Okay, here I am considering ftx, which is a periodic function with a period 2t, and that this t approaches infinity, and the resulting function f of x is no longer periodic, and it will be, that means it will be a non-periodic function. For that, consider an example. Consider the periodic function. ftx. Defining a periodic function ftx as 0 in the interval minus t less than x less than minus 1, and it has value 1 in the interval minus 1 less than x less than 1, and 0 again in the interval 1 less than x less than caps t. Okay. Graphically, it can be represented as the extends minus infinity to plus infinity. Then we have from minus t to minus 1, the value is 0. Then from minus 1 to 1, the value is 1. Isn't it? Then from 1 to t, it is again 0. Therefore, ftx is minus t to minus 1, 0, minus 1 to 1, it is 1, then from 1 to t, it is again 0. Okay, here we can identify that x is equal to minus 1 and x is equal to 1 are the point of discontinuities. Also, limit of t tends to infinity of ftx, it is equal to f of x, is a non-periodic function. Therefore, we can convert a periodic function to non-periodic function whenever t tends to infinity. Therefore, f of x can be written as 0. This from, I am extending this minus t to minus infinity. Therefore, it becomes 0 when 0 from minus infinity to minus 1. I am extending this. Limit of t tends to infinity of ftx. That means I am extending this minus t to minus infinity. Therefore, from minus infinity to minus 1, the value of the function is 0. Then from minus 1 to 1, it is 1 itself. And again 0 when 1 less than x less than infinity. That means from 1 to this t is extended to infinity. That means from 1 to infinity it becomes equal to again 0. Or this can be written as 1 at the interval minus 1 to 1 and 0 otherwise. At 0 otherwise means it is from others we have, that is from minus 1 infinity to minus 1, and also from 1 to infinity the value of the function is 0. What do you mean by otherwise? Okay. Therefore, a periodic function can be converted to non-periodic by extending up to infinity. That the definition says, again we can go to the definition, a non-periodic function may be considered as one for which the interval between the repetitions is indefinitely extended. This here it is extended up to infinity. Okay. Next, Fourier series to Fourier integral. Fourier series to Fourier integral. Consider, we know that Fourier series is applied for periodic functions. Therefore, consider any periodic function ftx of period 2t that can be expressed as a Fourier series of the form ftx is equal to a0 by 2 plus sigma n is equal to 1 to infinity an cos n pi x by L, in the place of L we have t, plus Bn sin n pi x by L, in the place of L we have t. Okay, here we have period 2t. Now this is the periodic function. Whenever this t tends to infinity, it becomes non-periodic. Therefore, now the non-periodic function f of x can be expressed as a Fourier integral of the form f of x is equal to 1 by pi integral from 0 to infinity a omega cos omega x plus b omega sin omega x with respect to omega, where this a omega s integral from minus infinity to infinity f of v cos omega v dv and b omega s integral from minus infinity to infinity f of v sin omega v dv. Okay, at a point where f of x is discontinuous, the value of the Fourier integral equals the average of left and right hand limits of f of x at that point. Here, at a point where f of x is discontinuous, the value of the Fourier integral equals the average of the left hand limit and right hand limits of f of x at that point. Thus, at a point of discontinuity, x naught, the value of the Fourier integral f of x is equal to average of f of x naught plus, that means the right hand limit of f of x, and f of x naught minus, that is the left hand limit of f of x. Here, if x naught is a point, here f of x naught or x naught plus can be represented on the right hand side, that is x naught plus, and x naught minus can be represented on the left hand side, x naught minus. The value of f of x naught plus and f of x naught minus divided by 2 will give the value of the Fourier integral f of x at the point of discontinuity x naught. Okay, now we can move to Fourier integral by using Fourier integral theorem. Now the statement of the theorem is, if f of x is piecewise continuous, if f of x is piecewise continuous in every finite integral and has a right hand derivative and left hand derivative. If limit exists, derivative also exists, and at every point and if f of x is absolutely integrable on the x-axis. F of x is absolutely integrable on the x-axis. That means integral from minus infinity to infinity f of x dx exists. That means absolutely integrable on the x-axis. Then f of x can be, by using Fourier integral theorem, f of x can be expressed as a Fourier integral. If these conditions are exist, then f of x can be expressed as a Fourier integral. First one is it must be piecewise continuous in every finite interval, that we have already seen in the example, and it has a right hand derivative and left hand derivative at every point, and if f of x is absolutely integrable on the x-axis. That means if integral from minus infinity to infinity f of x dx exists, then f of x can be expressed as a Fourier integral. This is what Fourier integral theorem states. Cosine and sine integrals. For even and odd functions, we have the Fourier integral representation of f of x as follows. For even and odd function, we can form Fourier cosine integral and sine integral. Case 1. When f of x is even, when f of x is an even function, then a omega is 2 into 0 to infinity f of v cos omega v with respect to v, and b omega is 0. Then f of x is an even function. A omega becomes 2 into 0 to infinity f of t cos omega v dv, and b omega becomes equal to 0. Now case 2, when f of x is an odd function, in that case a omega becomes equal to 0. A omega becomes equal to 0, and b omega becomes equal to 2 into integral from 0 to infinity f of v sin omega v dv. Okay, then f of x is an odd function. A omega becomes equal to 0 and B omega is 2 into 0 to infinity f of t sin omega v dv. The proof of is not expected. Now one problem. Find Fourier cosine integral of the function f of x is equal to x when 0 less than x less than a and 0 when x greater than a. X greater than a means it can extend up to infinity, isn't it? That means a less than x less than infinity. X greater than infinity. Therefore, the limit extends from 0 to infinity. Now, Fourier cosine integral S. The formula is f of x is equal to 1 by pi integral from 0 to infinity a omega cos omega x d omega, since d omega is equal to 0, where a omega is 2 into 0 to infinity f of v cos omega v dv. Here we have b omega equal to 0 and the function f of x is 1 by pi integral from 0 to infinity. Here also we have the limit from 0 to infinity a omega cos omega x d omega, where a omega is 2 into 0 to infinity. Here also the limit from 0 to infinity f of v cos omega v dv. Here first of all we will find out a omega, then we substitute here or find out the function f of x. Okay, for that I am splitting the interval from 0 to infinity to 2, that is interval from 0 to a f of v cos omega v plus from a to infinity, and splitting 0 to infinity from 0 to a, then a to infinity f of v cos omega v dv. 2 is common. Okay, it is 2 into integral from 0 to a. From 0 to a, the value of the function f of x is x. Therefore, f of v will becomes v cos omega v dv plus integral from a to infinity. From a to infinity, the value of f of x is 0. Therefore, f of v becomes equal to 0. 0 into cos omega v dv. Therefore, we have it is equal to 2 into 0 to a v into cos omega v dv into cos omega v, we will apply integration by parts, that is integral uv first function to integral of second minus derivative of first, then integral of second plus derivative integral minus etc. We can apply integral uv, that is equal to 2 into first function integral of cos omega v with respect to v as sin omega v divided by omega minus derivative of this v as 1. Now integral of this sin omega v is minus cos omega v divided by omega then plus derivative of this here we have already an omega, therefore omega square plus derivative of this one is 0, therefore it ends there. Now the limit from 0 to a. Okay, now applying the limits, before that we will multiply this minus to plus. Okay, therefore we have b sin omega b by omega plus cos omega b divided by omega square, limit from 0 to a. Now applying the upper limit to b. Therefore we have a sin omega into a by omega plus cos omega into a by omega square. Then minus lower limit. Apply lower limit to b. That is, for the first term it will be 0. For the second term it will be cos omega into 0, that is cos 0 by omega square. Okay, it is equal to, again we have a sin a omega by omega plus cos a omega by omega square. Now cos 0 is 1, therefore minus 1 by omega square. Or this can be written as 2 into, taking omega square, the denominator will get a omega sin a omega plus cos a omega, then minus 1. This is a omega. Now substituting in f of x, the value of a omega in f of x, we will get f of x is equal to 1 by pi integral from 0 to infinity. In the place of omega, sorry, a omega, we can substitute this. We will get 2 into a omega sin a omega plus cos a omega minus 1 by omega square into cos omega x d omega. It is 1 by pi from 0 to infinity a omega cos omega x d omega. F of x is equal to 2 by pi into integral from, we can take 2 outside, therefore 2 by pi integral from 0 to infinity a omega sin a omega plus cos a omega minus 1 by omega square into cos omega x d omega. Or we can write integral from, or this implies integral from 0 to infinity. From this we can evaluate this integral. This integral from 0 to infinity a omega sin a omega plus cos a omega minus 1 by omega square into cos omega x d omega can be written as pi by 2 into f of x. Okay. Pi by 2 into f of x means pi by 2 into, what is f of x? F of x is x in the interval 0 to a and 0 when x greater than a. Pi by 2 into f of x means pi by 2 into a at the interval, pi by 2 into x in the interval 0 less than x less than a and 0 in the interval x greater than a. Here we can point out that at the point x is equal to a, there is no value for the function. So here x is equal to a is a point of discontinuity. Now we can find out the value for this integral at that point. The value of the function is at a point of discontinuity, as we have already told in the theorem. The value of the function is equal to 1 by 2 into f of x naught plus f of x naught minus, isn't it? That is equal to 1 by 2 into the left hand limit plus the right hand limits, isn't it? This limit of x tends to a plus f of x plus limit of x tends to a minus f of x, which is the right hand plus left hand limits. the average of right hand and left hand limits. X tends to a plus means x greater than a. X tends to a minus means x less than a. Okay. So here is equal to 1 by 2 into limit of x tends to a plus of f of x. We know that f of x is equal to x in the interval 0 less than x less than a and 0 in the interval x greater than a. Okay. Therefore, we have limit of x tends to a plus of f of x when x greater than a. When x greater than a, the value of f of x is 0 plus limit of x tends to a minus of limit of x tends to a minus of f of x. That is the value of the function f of x when x is less than a. When x is less than a, the value of the function is x. It is equal to 1 by 2 into the first term will be 0 plus limit of x tends to a of x. That means x tends to a. Okay, it is equal to a by 2. Therefore at x is equal to a, the value of this integral is pi by 2 into function of x, that is a by 2. Pi by 2 into a by 2. Okay.